Did it to myself, I have no explanation. Twisted games and tricks, all tangled up and wasted. Double down and the bus sucked in the faking patience. Haunted dreams awake, still love to be so hated. I did it to myself. 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 Boat it up and lose the key. I've got no motivation, got no will to breathe. Growing more and more complacent. Train wreck at my feet. This monster I've created, running out of steam, but I can't fight the craving. So on and on, I train alone. The pain it slips away. I did it to myself. 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 I did it to myself.
Oh, are we live? Are we going?
There.
Oh, see, it's one of those nights where, you know, we were here nice and early. We had a couple meetings this afternoon. My mic keeps falling down, and it's just we were here in lots of time, and we're still, you know, time's coming up, and we're not ready yet. But hey, we have a fun show. We do have a lot to talk about, and we definitely have a lot of things to go over with you guys tonight. So welcome into episode 58 of the SquadCast. Of course, I'm producer Clark with my buddy Max Ritz. We have some big news for the two of us for this show, for this brand. Some stuff coming up a little bit later in the top of the order. Did we put it in the top of the order, or are we going to talk about it later? I think we should talk about it right away.
Probably a good idea.
Then you want to right now?
I'm crazy not to.
Let's do
no
it.
time like the present, as they say.
Exactly. We're gonna kind of introduce and say hi to a few people as we kind of get the show started. Music, laptop audio. But as we get going, we're going to tell you right away in just a couple of minutes about some big stuff that Max and IKS Media here at the studios, we're getting involved in. It's going to be really exciting.
The investment portfolio is diversified.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting not only for us, but for you guys as well, because
Yes.
you're going to be involved in a way. So it's going to be extremely exciting. But in terms of the show, you are the fanalists, you are the squad. So make sure you're helping us out by commenting all night long. We want to hear from you. You can ask us anything throughout the evening. I don't know if we have Hulk ready or not tonight.
Hulk's never ready.
He might be back in the locker
Hulk's
room. There he is.
permanently on hiatus again.
We sent him a new shirt, so by next week, allegedly, he might have his new shirt on.
I've been saying that for a few weeks now.
Yeah, we'll see where it
FedEx
goes.
ground shipping, man. Oh,
Yeah, it takes a
sorry.
while.
Just ground shipping.
We'll see where it goes. But until then, we do want you to ask us anything throughout the evening. And yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a ton of fun. I see that my dad's checking in. He says, "Hey, Clark, nice Maple Leafs top you had on last night. What about talking about my starter jacket on my TikTok live stream. What about the Preds? You need to show them some love." Well, look at Max. He's all
love
decked
is
out.
covered.
He
Father
is all
Monroe,
decked out.
we're ready to roll. We got a brand new jersey. We got
brand
nice
new jersey,
matching lid. It's feeling good.
Just for reference, I put Max. I want you to talk about the Predators in the script tonight.
Yes.
And actually what happened was Max told me, it's 12 games in, nobody cares. And I'm like, Max, I just want you to talk about the Predators for a minute. Can you not do that? And he's like, no, it's 12 games in.
It wasn't that nobody cares. It was the whole playoff implications thing. If you know about these Nashville Predators, last year, they had a 1% chance of making the playoffs halfway through the season. So forgive me, 12 games in, if I'm not terribly concerned about where the Predators are in the playoff picture at the moment. But regardless, it's been a decent start, better than most have predicted. So
yeah. So anyways, they're sitting in a playoff spot as of today, and I think that's pretty awesome for them at the moment. And all I said was, Max, they have some injuries. They're sitting in a playoff spot. Maybe talk about how they're gonna fare with these injuries. And he's like, who cares about playoffs? I'm like, it's not about the play. Anyway,
I don't think I said it in that tone.
We don't have to get into that.
I think I wrote it in the script.
No, you said it in
just
that.
giving you some
said it in
notes,
that
some
tone.
feedback.
It came through in that tone.
A little dissension on the show to begin the program this evening.
It came through on that tone.
We'll tighten it up. We'll tighten it up.
We're having a good time. We have a lot of fun stuff, and here it is, our big news. As we do have a few people watching on YouTube, we have our crew is checking in on Facebook, and I think we're also going on Twitter. Everything's good. I noticed that Engineer Rolf is out for one night, and Engineer Lindsay's in tonight, and
Good stuff.
Everything's working smooth. Weird.
Next woman up mentality. That's what we're about here.
She's definitely working her way up in our rankings
And
list.
before we
Sorry,
get
Rolf.
before we get to the big news as well, too, I think we would be remiss not to give a special birthday shout out to our good man, director, Jordan Blodgett of Blodgett Pictures.
He's 26 going on 55, that man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, 26 going on 58 in
The
terms
soul
of
of a 55-year-old gentleman. That's what I was trying to say.
58 episodes of SquadCast will turn you pretty old, too.
Couple gray hairs after what we've put him through.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
Who wants to hear about the big news? We have some big stuff, and if you were following me and Max on our social media channels individually, you probably saw some stuff over the weekend about the ultimate the Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports Baseball League. We were both involved in the auction show over the weekend. So basically what it was people need to bid on the chance to get into the league itself. And there was, 34 bidders for 30 teams.
Yeah.
There was extra teams that didn't actually get in. I think there was 3 or 4 or 5 teams that didn't get a bid.
Demand outweighed the supply. And from what I learned in first-year economics, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a good thing when it comes to business ventures.
So there was upwards of $170,000-ish involved in this auction, American dollars involved in this auction. So the higher you get in the auction, the higher you get if draft picks in the actual draft. This is a long-term dynasty league. So let's say number 1 pick is Shohei Ohtani, which is the consensus.
He was brought up once or twice on the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about him. You pick him first overall, you get to keep him forever. You own that guy. He's on your team. He's on your franchise. Unless you trade him, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do with him, but you own that player on your team for basically the rest of the time. And there is some big money, like I said, $170,000 American alone just in the auction. And then there's other stuff that's going to go on, and we'll talk about that kind of as we get closer to the league, because it's going to become a part of the SquadCast. And
I was going to say, we're burying the lead here.
Yeah.
The IKS Sports Group has purchased a franchise. That's where Clark was going with this thing.
That's where I was getting there. Yeah.
The 17th overall selection in this one-of-a-kind Ultimate Fantasy League baseball format belongs to the IKS Sports Group, which will be headed up by Paul Drouin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Clark Monroe, and yours truly, Max Ritz. We've got the moniker already. We've got Monritz.
Yeah,
we're currently
Monritz.
getting the patent
Shapiro,
for the trademark
Atkins,
and all those things.
They got Shatkins. We got Monritz. So we got that
Building
going.
good things.
Yeah, we're gonna be letting you guys know about some team names and some branding of teams later. Not yet. But there's a lot of excitement around this baseball league that we are now a part of. Again, under the IKS Media umbrella, and it's going to be a ton of
big
fun.
umbrella. It's a
big
pretty
umbrella.
vast
It's
one.
growing fast.
Based
too.
on our meeting with Paul this afternoon, you find out how
Yeah.
vast the umbrella really is here
Yeah,
at IKS
they keep
Media.
adding spokes to the umbrella too, and just keeps getting wider and wider. But anyways, it is going to be a ton of fun. Ian Kinsler's involved in this league, former MLB player,
World Series champion.
World Series champion, I should say. Gerald Smiley, former MLB draft pick. Too many leagues. Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports is all sorts of leagues. They have 6 different leagues already. NFL, hockey. We are getting into World Juniors now. The baseball league. There's other leagues as well. So it's a big thing, and we're really excited to get into it. So the draft is in March. We have owners meetings in January, and there's a bunch of stuff in between. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as we go.
Recruiting the staff already. There's
We
a couple
have
of
a
names
couple
that
staff
people are probably
members.
familiar with based on watching this humble little program that you'll be familiar with as they fill out our rosters. But we'll wait to reveal
We'll
those.
reveal those in due
Contracts
time.
got to get signed, things of that
Yes.
nature. You know, it's a one of a kind league with one of a kind opportunities. So.
Absolutely. It's going to be really exciting. So we'll keep you in the loop on that as we go. Jordan, just so you're aware, I don't know if you need to know this or not, I'm not hearing anything in my IFB, but I'll let you tinker with that as we go.
I can just see Jordan sliding from.
Oh, yeah. He'll fix it in no
here to
time.
there at the moment. It's
Emery Wolf's watching. He says the new cameras look great. Oh, that's good. I was just telling him that my palish white skin tone doesn't seem to agree with the lighting in here, but Jordan works magic.
and if anybody
and,
to comment on the camera quality, it's just a camera guy, Emery Wolf. Right?
Emery
So,
Wolf loves talking about just cameras.
just cameras. That's it.
Just cameras and chirping the Leafs. There we go. I can
There
hear
we
stuff
go.
now.
Good
There we go. This is better. Now it's too loud. Now I got to turn it down. Janelle Barkman's checking in. Oh, hi, my boys. Checking in from the snowy mountains. Janelle, thanks for checking in. Appreciate it all, as always. If you do want to watch on our YouTube page, we would appreciate if you head over there. We're sitting, I think, as of like right now, I think we're at 93 subscribers.
Inching closer.
So we have a bunch of people watching on Facebook right now. If you're watching on Twitter, please, I put the link everywhere. You can check it on the Facebook feed, on the Twitter feed. It's also on the tweet. Head over to our YouTube page really quick. If you don't have a YouTube account, it's really easy to make one. Subscribe to the channel. If we get to 100, we can do a bunch of stuff, and we're like this close. So
and tell
please
your friends. It's like
tell
go
your
to
friends.
the Eternals, like saying, "Hey,
Bring
this is a
somebody in.
great show.
Yeah.
Go see it." Right?
Yeah.
It's just like leaving a friendly review. That's all we're looking for.
Bring
you know?
somebody
Just
in
a
if you're
little
watching.
subscription.
If you're watching on Facebook and you don't mind, hit that like button, hit that share button. Let's get into it now. We do have a lot to get into before we have our special guest
busy week.
joining us. Which our special guest, as I haven't really talked about it yet, if you're a TikTok sports fan. If you like women in sports, the movement of women in sports media, sweet Annie O'D is coming on later today. Annie O'Donnell, she has 27,000 followers on TikTok. She has a sports podcast, the OD on Sports podcast. I like to play on words personally.
Absolutely.
I like OD on Sports.
Fantastic. Again, as a branding aficionado,
Love
it's
it.
good stuff right there.
And she has a sports radio show as well in Orange County, California. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a
Where
ton
it's
of fun.
actually appropriate to wear flip-flops in November.
I'm channeling my inner OC citizen.
Channeling the inner OC for the OD episode.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Yeah. I spent some time in California. Let's get into our
Clark,
topics.
what were your stats in California? Let's
Great,
go
actually.
there.
You want me to talk about it?
Sure, why
I
not?
still remember.
Still remember.
I hit 306, just like our area code. Eight home runs. Anyways, we
How
don't
many
have to talk
ribs?
about it. I can't remember that number. 24 or something like that. I can't remember. It was like Anyways,
Decent.
got honorable mention for DH of the year.
Did you get on the honor roll as a student?
I was a decent student.
It's called student athlete.
Yeah, I was a decent
3
student.
syllables.
I took sign language.
Did
down
you?
there. Yeah. I knew it for a bit.
There was some sign language you were wanting to toss my way before this program.
I was mad at Max before the show. I already kind of told you guys why. It was about Max doesn't want to talk about hockey because it's not playoff time yet. or
Buddy,
something.
I
don't
wore
know.
the jersey. I wore the hat. I'm here to talk.
Let's actually talk about hockey. There is a topic.
There is a
Max.
topic about hockey.
The Jack Eichel saga is over for now because it's just getting into a whole new saga now because he's with the Vegas Golden Knights. And now we get to talk about speculating when he's going to come back and is he going to be on the Olympic team? And when he does come back, who he's going to play with? I think that's pretty obvious. Patch, Reddy, and Stone. I think it's locked
It's going to be
in.
a line.
It's going to be a line. So anyways, Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights, and it's just another one of those trades where Vegas brings in a superstar. They've already done it 3 or 4 times now in their short existence, and they continue to be a franchise that's not afraid to swing for the fences, give up some prospects, and give up picks.
Kelly McCrimmon subscribes to the Les Snead school of business when it comes to draft picks and young pieces. It's to put a paraphrase on it, F them picks.
Basically.
Let's just say that. Yeah. You know what? Don't matter. Get the proven talent.
Rod Peterson upstairs on the Rod Peterson show loves to say this about Kelly McCrimmon. He was told one time by another WHL GM, and he never tells me who it is, but he told me that the motto around some of the league GMs was if it's trade deadline day or just beginning of the season or whenever, just any time in general, and you get a phone call from Kelly McCrimmon, hang up because you're about to lose somebody good.
To lose a deal.
You're about to usually either get fleeced or you're going to lose one of your best players because Kelly McCrimmon that's how he operates. So the deal itself was obviously Jack Eichel going to Vegas along with a 3rd-round pick. It's all conditional. All the picks are conditional. We don't have to get into that necessarily. But going the other way to the Buffalo Sabres is Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuck, who is a Syracuse, New York native. He's from that area, right next to Buffalo, and a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick. Again, conditional. Those could change years, et cetera, et cetera. Max, first thoughts on this? I don't like the idea of who won the trade.
Right.
Did Buffalo get enough? See, because I don't like to think who won the trade, because we could see Peyton Krebs come in and be a 75-point forward. Tuck could come in and be super productive, but we don't know that for a couple years probably. Right. So, I mean, Tuck's in the league now, but in general, it's hard to say who won a trade until 5-6 years.
I think I'm going to preface this from a TikTok that I saw in the last few days is... if you were Buffalo, you were never going to win this trade, as it were. You could probably figure out the TikToker that said this.
Me?
You're never going to get enough for Jack Eichel.
Was it me?
It might have been.
Oh.
But Pete DeBoer said it best in one of his pressers after the trade was completed, right? These guys don't come on the market often from Vegas's perspective. They never come on the market. A 25-year-old superstar centerman, we know what he's capable of when he's healthy.
Yeah.
And by all indications of the surgery that he signed up for, it does not come without risk, obviously. But by all indications, Jack Eichel will be Jack Eichel again. At least that's what I'm putting it out to be, because as one of the superstars in this league, you don't want to see a guy like that sitting out for any extended period of time. And unfortunately, the way that I see it is, to answer your question on the Buffalo side, is I wish this would have got done in July. I wish we'd be seeing Jack Eichel suit up in November, like late November here, December. But outside of that, the deal is done. The saga is, like you said, over for now, and we'll see what happens when it comes to his integration in Vegas's lineup. Now, I'll throw it back to you here. The interesting thing for me now is how does Vegas manage the cap situation when they are fully healthy? As we alluded to earlier, that potential super line of Max Pacioretty, Mark Stone, Jack Eichel up the middle. Currently, as that stands, if all those guys are healthy, they're $10 million over the cap.
Yeah.
So what do they do if they are to get him back before the trade deadline, before the playoffs, if they aren't just going to Kucherov him and shelve him until the Stanley Cup playoffs? What happens there?
For all intents and purposes, my understanding is Jack Eichel wants to play in the Olympics. So I think he wants to get back in time to do that.
For sure.
And if he plays in the Olympics, how can they Kucherov him after that?
Exactly.
I mean, unless he gets hurt in the Olympics.
Well, I don't think you could. If he plays in the Olympics, he's clearly healthy enough to play.
But unless he gets hurt in the Olympics,
Right,
and then they somehow find a loophole. But I don't know. So from my understanding of it is that, they're $10 million over the cap, but there's always a little bit of manipulation with that in terms of prorating certain contracts at certain times of the year, stuff like that. Guys like Riley Smith with a 1-year, $5 million contract, you probably eventually you're going to see him out the door. I've heard talks of Alec Martinez being out the door. They have a bunch of contracts in the $3 to $6-ish million range that they can ship out in order to accommodate this. The good thing about them and how they kind of approach this trade is that they don't have to make the decision right away.
Right.
They do have time because Jack Eichel is on the IR, so they are able to, the injured reserve, they are able to kind of just figure it out. They have time. They don't have to rush it. And I heard you. The one thing that I Elliot Friedman'd you, and I took a buzzword out.
Completely. I could tell.
I was doing something productive, I swear. But the one thing I heard you say was you wish they would have got it done earlier.
Yes.
And I honestly don't know I mean, would it have been that much better if they would have done it earlier?
For Jack Eichel, it certainly would.
For
have been.
Jack, I guess. For him personally, yeah.
For a
I guess
superstar in the league, yes.
it gets his surgery done sooner, and maybe he's playing right now if this happened earlier in the summer. But I'm just thinking in terms of straight asset management and return. I don't know if they would have got a better return in June or in July than they got today or this week. There's a lot of talk about, they probably had all this stuff on the table before and now they didn't get as much. I don't know if that's the case necessarily. I think there was a lot of speculation about it, and I think there was a lot of what am I trying to say? I think there was a lot of misunderstanding. Trepidation. Yeah, that's actually what I was going with it. Misunderstanding of what his situation was from a lot of teams around the league, and a lot of hesitation, trepidation by GMs saying, I don't know if I want to get in on this. I don't. If there was more on the table, I think Buffalo would have pulled the trigger earlier than this. I don't think that they were like, oh, shoot, we lost out on 4 first-round picks and Matthew Tkachuk. I don't think that was the case. I think they would have said yes to that if that was on the table.
Kevin Weeks after that happened.
Well, yeah, that was unfortunate.
I like Weeks.
Again, I would
really
love
do.
to know who fed him that, because apparently...
You'd think it's somebody credible. Kevin Weeks has been in this game long enough to be...
And not only that, he's had a couple good scoops.
Breaks, right?
Like lately. He's had a couple good scoops.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't know who fed him that, but the backtracking that Calgary media took after that, I saw Eric Francis be like, nope, that was never the thing. And I think Tree Living maybe came out, or Tkachuk even came out and said, no, I don't know, I'm better. I think Tkachuk came out and said, I'm better than Eichel anyways. Did you hear about this?
I mean, that's why you love Matthew Tkachuk, though. You obviously were at the game this weekend.
Yes.
And you got to see the full Matthew Tkachuk effect.
Actually, we had a comment from our buddy Chad Isaac. Chad said Clark got to finally see a winning team. But so I saw it.
Yeah, Chad, how about those Bengals, hey? Yeah, we're going to talk about that later, but just saying, moving on.
Yeah, Clark finally saw a winning team on Saturday Live. How was it? I was telling Max and before the show, I think he agrees. I think we're in a similar boat here. Every time I go to an NHL game, I'm just like, why do I not do this more often? Obviously there's circumstances in life.
Geography plays a factor.
Geography. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere in terms of going to a game. It's not just like, hey, you want to go to a game tonight? Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But I'm making it my life goal to do more sporting events, because every time I go to one, it's just like, oh man, this is amazing.
Our good man Ryan Baracco will know exactly what type of assets are needed in order to have that dream come to fruition based on a particular video we were watching before the show.
Yes, yes.
In order to have
the type of money.
Exactly, the type of money that you need. Exactly.
So we got a bunch of people talking. Myron's here chatting in the comments. Katie's chatting. Joe Booney's checking in. So the crew is here. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to go over with the Eichel trade, or should we move on?
I'm excited to see him get healthy again. I really want to see, because when Jack Eichel is fully healthy, we know what he can be, right? And that's an upper echelon star in the league. Now, again, if this might be a perfect segue into a topic that we didn't exactly write down, but need to maybe address quickly. The debate's over, people. If anybody's watching the Edmonton Oilers and New York Rangers game on Friday night, effectively over, like immediately done.
Yeah.
It is Connor McDavid's league. Everybody else is just playing in it. This guy, man.
Yeah.
He already had a highlight reel that could fill probably, I'd say, at least an hour's worth of Sportsnet. But man, oh man, what he continually does year after year, just getting better, somehow getting better. One guy taking on 4 in such a crucial moment of an NHL hockey game. One that the Edmonton Oilers, and again, when we talk about it, you'll like this, every game's big at this time of season. So... Like, really?
Are you sure about that?
I don't know, man. But when goals are being scored like that, I tell you, that would have been some spectacle for anybody that was in attendance at Rogers Place on Friday night.
Yeah, and just to build on that really quick, and then we'll move on. But the Rangers had a real rough weekend. I don't know what was the end the result in the Panthers game. Can you check that?
Panthers
they played
game,
the
they won
Panthers.
4-3.
They won?
Yeah, they won 4-3.
Okay, so at least they got back a little bit. But man, having a 4-1 lead to the Oilers and then losing it the way that they did 6-5 in overtime, and then the next night going to Calgary and getting stomped.
Reminds you of another team that wears blue, eh?
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it was just not a great weekend for the Rangers. Shesterkin had a rough night. Georgiev had a rough night for goaltending. Man, Chad mentioned it. You mentioned it. I was in Calgary. the Flames fans were giving it to Adam Fox.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, Adam Fox spurned the Flames, said he wouldn't sign there. They traded him to, along with Dougie Hamilton, to Carolina for Noah Hannafin and Elias Lindholm. And then he didn't sign in Carolina, so Carolina traded him to New York. Was that for Brady Shea?
I want to say,
Or
yeah,
Brett
that was
Pesce-
the other one
not
going the
Brett
other
Pesce,
way.
Brady Shea. Yeah, I think it was Brady Shea.
Yeah.
But either
Hey, man,
way,
kid that wants the big market, I guess, and when he backs it up with a Norris Trophy in early season, in
I
his
don't
career.
I don't think the Norris Trophy helped how the Flames fan felt
No,
about him.
probably
but
not.
every time he touched the puck, it was a boo, a loud arena-wide boo. Then he scores a gorgeous goal, and you could tell he was like, "Suck it!" Like he was like, "Yeah." But
Kids
then
program, Clark. Kids program.
Oh, that's fine. And then they called that offside and called the goal back. And the amount of "Fox, you suck" chant that went on, like it was for me, it was funny, but I can't imagine being Adam Fox. It was rough. Like, they did not hold back.
Oh, 100%. And I guess I just have one final question from your weekend in Calgary. How was a certain stadium, I guess, concession stand item with condiments on it?
Yeah, it was delicious.
Right? It's pretty good.
Actually, we had a plan to get something and just go like totally plain and just take a picture and send it to you. But we didn't.
You couldn't, right?
But we ended up getting the big foot-long Flames dog, they called it, with it was banana peppers and chipotle mayo and all sorts of great.
I'd be all over that.
Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah.
I scarfed it down pretty fast. But we did have a plan to send you like a plain hot dog or something, and
just to grind my gears.
we knew you'd have a good time with that. Moving on, I guess, Josh Allen, sacking Josh Allen. And not only that, but he did a lot more other stuff.
Guess what? Josh Allen also intercepted Josh
him
Allen and forced a
fumble
from Josh Allen.
And in the most boring NFL game of all time, the Jaguars, shout out Matias Bueno, the Jaguars beat the Bills 9-6.
I don't know, man.
That's a hockey score.
The Rams Super Bowl game was pretty boring too, 13-3.
Yeah, I
to
guess.
The Patriots a few years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Sucked. But either way,
9-6 on a Sunday afternoon, not a game a whole lot of people are going to remember.
Hey? Oh man, I tell you what, and it's funny because I'm watching Red Zone and I'm like, you don't see the teal Jacksonville Jaguars this much. They're obviously doing something today.
Yeah.
And as a fantasy owner of Stephon Diggs, who actually had a decent day, I guess I can't be too harsh on the Buffalo Bills, but man, what a topsy-turvy week in the NFL as a whole. I know we'll get into it in Squad Select a little bit later as we're running short on time, but what a weird week it was, and highlighted maybe by some questionable officiating, as it were.
Yeah, and that was what we were going to get into next, is the taunting call that was called on Cassius. What was
Marsh?
it? Marsh, yes.
Yep.
Of the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Chicago Bears, the hot and cold Chicago Bears.
Hot and cold Chicago Bears.
Was this the actual referee?
Yes, this
that was involved in it?
I forget his actual name. I had it at one point.
Cassius Marsh, from my understanding, he's a young player, gets cut by the Bears.
Cut by the Steelers.
He was on the Bears.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it backwards.
Yeah.
Gets cut by the Steelers, signs with the Bears, makes a big play.
Big play. Big point of the game.
Big play. Yeah, exciting. Obviously, a lot of emotion. It's football. There's always...
It's a revenge game for this kid.
Revenge game. All he does is bounce around a little bit, move towards the Steelers
15
bench.
yards from the freaking sideline.
Yeah, not close. He didn't gesture. He didn't, raise his arms. He just stood there, looked at the sideline, and then ran off the field.
He wanted to try and catch Mike Tomlin's eye saying, "You cut this,
You
man."
cut me.
And
Exactly.
he didn't actually say it.
And now Torrey Gurley has a great story about how he did this to Chris Jones back in the day. He got cut by the Edmonton Elks, Eskimos at the time. Chris Jones was the head coach. Torrey Gurley goes to the Toronto Argonauts, catches a touchdown against Edmonton in his first game, goes over to the sideline, holds the ball to Chris Jones and says, I did it or something. He tells the story better. But he has a story. Didn't get called for taunting. That's awesome. That's an awesome moment.
That's what you tune in for.
And Cassius Marsh, young guy, makes a big play. All on what was it, Monday Night Football? He makes a big play. He just does this in the sideline and goes, "Yeah, that's right."
To force
and
a
then
fourth
runs
down in a game where the Bears had to win.
Yeah. And then not only did he get a taunting penalty, but the referee hip checks him on the way off the field, trying to stand his ground or prove his point or something. I don't know. I think it's a little ridiculous, and I think the NFL needs to take a hard look at this taunting penalty that they've all of a sudden enforced, because not only is it making the no fun league even a stronger no fun league, but it's making it it's taking the emotion out of the game. It's taking a lot out of the game of football, which is a physical, dominating sport where one person dominates another. And it's not just a bunch of people bumping into each other out there. These guys are ripping each other apart in order to do their jobs. And if they can't do what Cassius Marsh did, that's not good.
And I'll take my bias out of it while we wrap this up. But on Sunday Night Football, let's just say it was a bit of a frustrating affair to watch the Tennessee Titans kind of run all over my Los Angeles Rams. But like even with Jalen Ramsey, the guy made a play. I think it was A.J. Brown caught the ball, made a play, and then Jalen Ramsey got a taunting penalty because A.J. Brown kicked Dante Dion. Jalen Ramsey goes in to defend his teammate, grabs his second unsportsmanlike penalty of the game, and Tennessee Titans fans, he should have been kicked out, this, that, and the other thing. And then with 5 minutes left in the game, apparently the NFL struggling with what roughing the passer is as well, because my guy, Aaron Donald, that wasn't roughing the passer.
You can't see it, folks, but he has an Aaron Donald shirt under his
little bit seething.
jersey.
You know, they had the free Odell shirts. I want to free Aaron Donald from any sort of, I guess, misguided comments, because that was not roughing the passer. What happened 2 plays later when Tennessee got the ball back, that was definitely roughing the passer. But that's going to be, again, it's just, man, the officiating this week was some
Chad
kind of
Isaac says taunting, illegal low block, late hit on Fields, etc. was a terrible game for officiating.
Oh, awful.
Joe Booney's checking in. He says it takes the fun out of the game. My dad, Rod, says the taunting issue call was a joke. Come on, NFL. The comments are great. Myron says, ladies and gentlemen, Clark actually used condiments on his food at a live sporting event.
I want to say the little Max in the back of his head.
Do you remember the joke I told you last week about, the pig? Did I tell you the joke?
I can't
really say. I mean, I guess we can say it on air, but I'm not going to. You eat one hamburger, you eat one cheeseburger with no condiments.
I don't even think you had cheese on that thing, man. I think you were naked burger in that one.
I promise you.
I
know my burgers, Max. There was cheese on it.
You were in some sort of state of original 16
You guys let us
products
know when our guest Annie logs in, and we won't make her talk about condiments on hamburgers, but.
Hey, you know what, though? Funny story about that, just obviously in the context of that. Went to a Dodger game probably, 6-7 years ago now. And this is back, well, I'm sure they still do it, but the Schneider's dollar hot dogs. Yeah, I think I crushed like 6 at a Dodgers game one time. It was a very, very boring game. It was a 2-0. I want to say the Red Sox lost on a Hanley Ramirez home run. At Dodger Stadium. I get Hanley Ramirez confused because he played for both the Dodgers and the Red Sox, but a tough one for our guy, Matty Ring. He's a big Boston Red Sox fan. It was his first game ever watching the Red Sox. We go to Dodger Stadium, crush a whole lot of cheap hot dogs. Well, probably not cheap back in the day. I guess $1 hot dog in the U.S. is like $2.50 in Canada. Yeah. But regardless. But yeah, it was on a 2-0 ball game where Hanley Ramirez had the only offense, and it was a bit of a tough one. But man, Dodger Stadium, I tell you, it's definitely a scene. It lives up to, I guess, the historic billing that it's earned in Major League Baseball lore. That's
Speaking of the Dodgers, we do have some MLB offseason news. They struck first blood, and we will talk about this with our next guest. She is logged in, Max, so we will get to a break. But the Dodgers have signed left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney to a 1-year, $8.5 million deal. Just literally 24 hours after Max texted me and said, I think the Jays should go after Andrew Heaney.
The ultimate Pete Walker reclamation project.
He'd be a good Pete Walker project for the Jays. And nope.
Dodger blue.
Last little news. I think we're going to save our hockey talk, the Leafs and Preds rants that you don't want to do.
Hey, guess what, Clark? In 45 minutes, it'll be a lot closer to the playoffs. So
You're right. Last thing of business is the Houston Astros have actually reportedly offered Carlos Correa a 5-year, $160 million deal, about $32 million a year. And you said it, this seems like a gesture move, only to kind of save face if he goes and signs with the Yankees. At least they've put their dollar amount out there, and they're like, look, we offered this guy the sun and the moon, and he still went and played with the Yankees or whoever he signs with. But
not exactly, again, along the same
big gesture, at least by the Astros.
Well, same level of discreetness as the trash can bang, but again, we'll leave that for another day. Probably time for a commercial break, hey?
Let's go to a commercial break, and in just a few minutes, our special guest, Sweet Annie O'Donnell, is going to be joining us, and we got a lot to talk about, including the Dodgers, the Ducks, NFL talk, and a whole lot more, because there's actually some breaking news as well, which we'll get into, which is interesting. But we'll get back to you guys in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Oh man, freaking love the commercial music now. Max changed it a couple weeks ago. Just love it. We got a bit of a TikTok reunion going on because our next guest is from TikTok, but also NHL Ava is in the comments, and she is a New York Rangers fan. She said it was only 2 picks for Fox. It wasn't the Brady Shea trade. The Brady Shea trade was separate. Try to say Brady Shea trade 3 times or 5 times fast.
Tough one.
Brady Shea trade, that was separate altogether. So NHL Ava's checking in because our next guest is here. And hold on, because I got to butter her up first before we bring her in here, guys. Our first guest tonight joins us from the Golden State. She's the host of the OD on Sports podcast. She has 27,000 followers on TikTok. No big deal. And you can hear her on KOCI 101.5 FM in Orange County. Please welcome to the show, Annie O'Donnell, a.k.a. Sweet Annie O.D. Annie, welcome to the show. How's it going? Can she hear us? I don't know. Jordan, you might have to do some
I can't hear
stuff.
anything.
We can hear her. She sounds great. Let's, Jordan's going to do some tinkering. She can't hear anything. I buttered her up pretty good, so I'm going to have to redo that.
You'll have to redo it. Yeah, you'll have to give it another go. That's all right, though.
Because I did a pretty good job. Anyways, we do have...
So nice, you'll say it twice. How's that
I will
sound?
say it twice. I don't even feel bad about it. Joe Booney's checking in, and he said, I am so sick and tired of people saying Big Ben is washed up. The people who say that are washed up, not Big Ben. Ben is great. Joe, how do you feel about this?
Hey, you know what?
What
There's,
are you really
there's
feeling?
something to be said for sticking with your guys, but yeah, I don't know. Let's just say a couple flags go the other way in that game last night. I don't know if he's feeling about that way about Big Ben tonight. I don't know.
My dad's checking in, and after me going to the Flames game over the weekend, he said, are you a converted Flames fan now? No. However, I have an appreciation for the team and the organization and going to an NHL game.
You forgot to thank the fan base.
And the fan base.
Yeah, there you go.
Very hospitable. She should be able to hear. Is she giving us a thumbs up that she can hear us now? Because I have to read her intro again.
Yes.
She's good. Okay. I'm going to butter her up again. Here we go. Ready? Our first guest tonight joins us from the Golden State. She's the host of the OD on Sports podcast. She has 27,000 followers on TikTok, and you can hear her on KOCI 101.5 Orange County Radio. Please welcome to the show, Annie O'Donnell, a.k.a. Sweet Annie O.D. Annie, welcome to the show.
Wow, that was a great intro. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so pumped to be here.
Absolutely, and we're going to jump into a bunch of different stuff with you here tonight, Annie. But first of all, we've met on TikTok, of course. TikTok's been, for me, a thing that's opened a whole lot of doors and windows and all sorts of things. So for those who may not know you, and maybe they don't follow you on TikTok yet because they should, let us know. Who is Annie O'Donnell? What do you got going on?
Oh boy, loaded question.
Yeah.
I love the term you used actually in the promo, the term fanalist. I've never heard that before, but I think I might be carrying that on going forward. I've been in the kind of the sports media space for about 2 years now. I was working a corporate job in New York that made me miserable. But all my life I've been a sports fan and love talking sports. It's my love language, as I say. And I finally said, you know what, in the space of social media and, the way the internet works now, I said, why don't I just start my own platform, put my ideas out there, see what takes. So launched my podcast first in November of 2019, coming on 2 years in a couple of weeks, which is crazy to think about. And then once COVID hit, I was still kept up with content, but started to explore a little bit on TikTok. Really was on there at first for fun, scrolling as most of us were during quarantine. But then I started to see some sports videos and I said, well, let me give this a shot. So I started just making content, making things that I wanted to see on there, whether it was talking about current events, whether it was talking about my specific teams, but whether it's sports, movies, anything, I love it all. So just been posting pretty consistently on TikTok for about a year and a half now. And that's have been able to build up a pretty decent following because of it. Nothing viral or anything like that, just really consistent and creating a community on there. Clark, as you know, you've built a community yourself as well. I love coming into your lives and seeing all your regulars in there and asking follow-up questions and trade proposals and everything. But, and honestly, I think the best part about TikTok was I got my radio gig from TikTok. And it wasn't even a really popular video. It was a video of me ranting about this. I don't know if you guys saw the news or like the picture that went viral of the billboard outside of Fenway Park that a Dodgers fan group put up where they said, "Dear Boston, thank you for Mookie Betts. Sincerely, Dodgers fans."
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So I went on a rant about it. And my now co-host came across that video and shot me a message on Twitter and said, "Hey, saw you're in Southern California. Love what you got. You want to come in and to give this radio show a shot?" And I had been a guest on radio. I've been on Sportsnet and things like that, but I've never hosted on a radio show. So gave it a shot and I love it. It's another what do you say? Another another element of the Swiss Army knife I like to add for myself. So
absolutely, that's
what I got going. And I'm active on other platforms. Twitter, I'm basically rant about the Dodgers and the Ducks for the most part. And Instagram is just posting fun pictures and sometimes oversharing sports on my story. But, that's any sports fan in a sense.
So everything you said about getting into TikTok was literally my exact story. So we're like spirit animals in that regard. But also you're extremely humble because you're like, oh, nothing went viral. She has a 1.2 million view video about the Anaheim Ducks logo getting ruined. So nothing went viral. Nothing went viral, Annie.
That was one. Okay. The thing that made me the most mad about that, and I don't like to flex on that one, is because it's literally the TikTok that took me the least amount of time.
I know.
It was a spur of the moment one where I saw the guy who made this video. It came up on my For You page, and I said, I got an answer for this, and I just stitched it. It took me 2 minutes, and I didn't think it would go anywhere. I thought it would be popular on hockey TikTok, but it went global. Like I got people
Wildfire.
commenting like soccer leagues in there, and I'm not a soccer person. So I know the big ones. I know Manchester United, I know AC Milan, all those, but then they've got the other ones. So I'm learning a little bit more about more logos that were ruined. But I mean, that didn't get me a huge, like, it wasn't like a cash cow in a sense where I got like 10,000 followers overnight from that. I really didn't get a ton of followers from that one, but it did numbers. That's my only one that I've had hit 1 million. So
I don't know if you saw this when we had our wide shot, but Jordan, can you just quickly go to the wide shot? We got the Paul Correa jersey here, Annie.
I saw that.
You had a question too, Max, about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Annie. And you know what? I guess no more perfect of a segue than that. But it's about that time for the show of how did you become a fan? Our show was kind of built off of, I guess, the connection that Clark and I have, and enthusiasm and love for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks and Paul Correa. So your story about how you became a Ducks fan, formerly Mighty Ducks fan.
Well, I respect your mutual love for my beloved Ducks.
It was just for reference, Annie. It was like a Step Brothers moment where it's like, all right, who's your favorite hockey player growing up? 1, 2, 3, Paul Correa. Did we just become best friends? It was like that.
Let's start a sports show. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start a show. All right. Anyways, you go ahead.
John Stamos.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, as far as the Ducks go, I think, not to say it's my least interesting story, but I grew up in Southern California. I'm a 90s kid. The Ducks and I are around the same age. So I grew up in the era of Correa and Solani. The 2003 Stanley Cup final was my first heartbreak ever in life. So I grew up also in a huge hockey family. I'm one of 5 children, 4 brothers and me, and all of them play hockey. My dad is from New York, grew up playing hockey, loves the game, has taught me everything I know. So as soon as I showed a small interest, my dad really embraced it and took us to games. And my obsession with, not I want to say obsession, but interest and obsession with the Ducks only grew as I was able to drive and got a debit card, had my own money, was able to go to games more. Because, when you're younger, you're kind of at the expense of your parents in terms of going to games. And, sometimes like when you're younger, internet access and things like that, and being able to watch games. And when I was in high school, it was around the time where like hockey Twitter was really like blowing up. So I was able to really connect with people. And, you talk about, the connection of how you became a fan. And being a kid in Southern California, not a lot of hockey fans were everywhere back when I was in high school. So it really helped me create a community elsewhere. Now hockey Twitter is huge. So many people are active on there and in social media, and the hockey community on TikTok as well. I think about that all the time. What kind of TikToks I would post if I was in high school, or TikTok was around when I was in high school. And I'm thinking about it. And listen, I was in high school when the Getzlaff, Perry, and Ryan line was running things in Anaheim, and I would give up any pinky toe to relive that era because even though they didn't end up with a lot of success, it was so much fun to watch. And we're kind of getting a glimpse of getting back into that exciting era of hockey again. But, it was just, I truly fell in love with the game. And I went to school in Pittsburgh thinking that I wanted to work for a professional hockey team in some sense, was able to intern with the Penguins. And honestly, living in other cities, it really it made me love my team and loving California teams even more. It made me appreciate them more. Not in the sense that, because everybody likes to hate on California sports fans. You saw it so much in the World Series, especially with the Dodgers. And with all due respect to your Nashville Predators gear, I will not forget Carrie Underwood's salty tweet in 2017 talking about the Ducks crowd when she was at Honda Center. But I absolutely love the passion of the fans here. I love the diversity of the fans here. I love this fan base. I love this team. And, I lived in New York for a little bit, and I recently relocated back to California. And I'm slowly kind of realizing that, where I'm meant to be is here, because I want to grow the game. I want to grow this team that I have loved so much. And the Ducks, and both the Ducks and the Kings as well, have such a bright future to come in the coming years, where it's going to be really fun. And more people need to start getting into Staples Center and Honda Center to go watch the teams play.
That's fantastic, Annie. And you know what? We'll definitely get into 2017 in just a minute here. But obviously, as you alluded to,
Please don't.
Well, I mean, I had to, right? We fresh jersey, just got it in the mail this week.
He just got this jersey. He's really happy about it.
He just got it. Who are you wearing?
Oh, I got Pecorine. Who else, right?
Of course.
So,
of course.
Annie, it's Remembrance Day up in
Yes.
Canada coming up, which is kind of like Memorial Day, I guess. And we wear poppies up here,
Yeah.
and it's got a little, a little pin. And he didn't want to. It's a little tiny pin. He didn't want to poke it through his jersey because he's like, I just got this. I'm like, come on, man.
You know what, man? You didn't have to throw me right under the
I
bus
did.
like
I
that,
threw
but that's
you.
okay.
You're right
That's
under the
fine.
bus.
Anyways, Annie, back
Does
to
it have the fighters? Does it have the fighter straps? Is it the
Oh,
offensive one?
totally. Yeah, absolutely. Paid 166
Okay, all right.
Canadian for this.
I was gonna say, if you had bought like the Fanatics brand one, the one that's like feels like it's a T-shirt material, I'd be like, come on, man. But you chalked out the extra money for the fighter strap for the real Adidas stuff. So all right,
yeah.
I'll let you off the hook.
What
for that.
do you have against people who take the economical approach to buying a jersey, Annie?
I have nothing against that. I have jerseys. That's what I do. Oh my God, my Dodgers jerseys feel like they're see-through almost from Fanatics. But I'm just saying, but I wouldn't have a problem putting a pin in that one,
Right.
because
Good point.
while you paid a lot of money for it, like it's not like you're not ruining a good quality piece of fabric. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like if you drop some mustard on it, nobody would notice. It's the same color.
100%. Absolutely.
Listen, during the NLCS, I got so much stuff on my Dodgers jersey that I wore throughout the playoffs
you
up
have
until
to.
the end.
Yeah, you can't wash it or anything.
You
Yeah,
can't
you gotta
switch it
keep
up.
it on.
After that wild card game, I was not switching it up. But it's a little shout on there, a lot of chocolate stains, a lot of beer stains on there. But you just throw some shout on there, throw it in the wash. You're
It's
all
just
good
war
to go.
wounds. It's just war wounds. That's all it is.
Well, that's the thing, though, Annie, right? When you're going on a run like that, you can't dare throw it in the wash, right?
No.
Like, that just can't be a thing.
Oh, I wouldn't dare. Oh my God. That's the other thing my dad cursed upon me is being very superstitious. My dad is a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan, and the amount of gear that I have purchased for him in Dodgers gear, he's a huge Dodgers fan, over his lifetime, like he'll wear it to a game once. And then if they lose, it doesn't leave the closet ever again.
He's that
And I'm
type.
the exact same way.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to wait till next season where you can kind of have a chance to reapply the jersey into this season. And if it goes on its run and then when you lose, it's done. But even in the playoffs, like I still wore it, even though they dropped games throughout their run there, you still got to keep wearing it because it's got that playoff magic.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? It's not over till it's over. And that's the beautiful thing about the playoffs when you're going 5 games or 7 games deep in those series, right? But Annie, when it comes to, again, going back to the Ducks trade anyways, that was a lot of fun. I really like that. Talking jerseys, talking gear.
Yeah.
And I especially love that she pulled out the Fanatics on you.
Oh,
That's just great. That's it's an internal debate that we've had for a while now. So that's good stuff. But
I have another debate that we can get into. And I think you'll actually have a good answer for it because you live in an area where there's a lot of different teams. So we'll get into that. But I know you have a question, Mac.
Absolutely. We'll save that for the end. But
Yeah,
you
that'll be the
alluded to
end.
it earlier, Annie. I mean, brighter times are obviously ahead for the Anaheim Ducks, right? When it comes to some of the younger pieces here, you've obviously got Troy Terry emerging finally after what seemed like he might not. You've got the A-listers in Zegras, Drysdale. Hell, even Getsy's looking back to his circa early 2010s days. It's actually just a lot of fun to watch. But I mean, is the patience about to be rewarded since the Nashville Predators effectively ended the previous window in 2017?
Had to just zing that one.
3-0 in playoff series. Just saying, that's it.
Okay, all right.
Jeez.
Enough of that. I didn't come on here to get harassed like this.
She's our guest, Max. Relax.
It's all right. It's all right. If that was a Ryan Johansson jersey, we might have some issues. But
we call that
good
garbage here, Annie. Ryan
As you just traded for him on your fantasy team,
I
Clark.
picked him
Get
up.
out of
He
here.
was a waiver pickup.
Exactly.
All right. Go ahead. You had a question.
No, but honestly, going into this season, I mean, especially after last season, which let's call a spade here, it was absolutely terrible on all accounts. Going into this season, I really had the mindset of high excitement, low expectations. So whatever this season's going to give me, it's going to give me, because ever since they got swept by the Sharks in 2018? Yeah, that was 2018. Yes, it was the year after 2017. Ever since then, kind of what Bob Murray was really selling is that hey, this is a playoff team. Like, this team can compete on top of the Western Conference. These guys just need to step up. And then that 2018-2019 run, of course, this was after they already brought back Randy Carlyle, which, don't get me started, that was a mistake to begin with. But I know, Clark, you and I are both traumatized and victims of the Randy Carlyle coaching regime, so I don't need to get into that. But, you go on that run in December and January where the Ducks, I think, had 2 wins the entire 2 months, and Randy Carlyle still had a job. And by God sent, don't know how, they still were in a playoff. They were still in contention for a playoff spot at the end of that, but didn't end up making the playoffs. The next season, of course, COVID, so halted there. Their season was cut short. Not that it would have been a playoff run anyway. And then last season, where it was just god awful, met records for worst start, worst record, everything. And they was still sent on that narrative that, hey, this is a playoff team. When these guys play their best, the young guys need to step up. That was the message going into every single camp. And that's, of course, the fans weren't really buying it. Most of us were saying, no, it's a rebuild. But Bob was saying, no, it's a retool. Like, we have the pieces here. This is a team that can compete. And when you look at some of the names on this roster, that is the case. You've got some solid talent on here. But starting with this season, I really think that this changed the mindset for both the locker room, the organization, and the fan base, was that management finally came out and called this what it was, and it's a rebuild. That you should just enjoy the young talent that's in front of you. Probably won't be a playoff team, but get excited about the future. And I think that mindset really helped the fans, for one, to have some lower, not to say lower expectations, but kind of. And then I think the team just really was fed up with the performance from last year. And you can blame a lot of things on last year. Poor play, of course, is the big one, but the COVID season, that affected everybody. But of course, with Ryan Getzlaf in the last year of his contract, there was talks of him going somewhere else in free agency. And that was the big news, going around, the fan bases. Nobody wanted to lose our captain. And honestly, I don't think anybody in the locker room right now is really ready to take on that captain role and be the leader in that locker room. No disrespect to the guys in there, but this is still Getsy's team. So the fact that he came back 1 year, $4 million, he said, hey, let's see what we can do here. And they're already showing progress. It's, the coaching changes they had to make. They got out the assistant coaches, brought in Jeff Ward, Newell Brown. The power play has been revitalized. I mean, this was the worst power play in the league last year, 8.9%, 31st. You can't be in the National Hockey League, you cannot be having a power play that horrible.
Well, unless you're the Vegas Golden Knights this year. They're worse. True.
It's still early. Early, but and they got injuries, of course. I'm not to say I'm giving credit to the Vegas Golden Knights, but it's the fact that and then that they're 5th in the league, right? I think it's 27% on the power play now. And it just seems like I honestly don't know what it was. Maybe something happened in the off season. They had a meet. I don't even know, something where they said, hey, enough messing around. We can win some decent hockey games. And the fact that, they're sitting at, I think 6-4-3 right now.
Yep.
But those overtime games were easily winnable. I would say the only game that they flat out blowout lost, they lost to the Winnipeg Jets 5-1. But, the last few overtime losses came back from three goal deficits. We're able to tie it up, send it in overtime, send it into a shootout. There's some grit in this team. The fact that they're playing really consistent hockey and just everybody's playing well. Everybody's doing their part. Of course, you've got some, Max Comtois has yet to be on the score sheet, which is surprising given his performance last season. But it gives me a glimmer of hope that this maybe has potential. They have some potential given the fact that it is a weak division to finish a little higher than expected, even though I fully expected this to be an absolute draft lottery year, which is fine. This is a great draft coming up. I don't have Stanley Cup expectations for this team. I don't think anybody does. But I think there could be, and there will be, some big strides of progress, maybe earlier than we've seen. They're turning a corner a lot faster than we expected.
Well, and they've won 4 in a row now. And, if this was the Toronto Maple Leafs, we'd be planning the parade because that's just how the fan base operates. They lose one more game, and then it's all falling apart again.
You always got to turn it into the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I wasn't going to, but it's just it reminded me of it. But they are, as of right now, and Max hates this, but they are sitting 3rd in the Pacific in a playoff position as of right now. So just something to keep an eye on.
Right.
But Annie, you mentioned mentioned Bob Murray. There was some out of the blue news today with Bob Murray and the Anaheim Ducks. They've placed him on administrative leave. Now, originally the wording was kind of vague, but then I saw a tweet that it was because of how he was treating some employees. Maybe some threats were being thrown around. So I don't know exactly what that is, but I don't know, from where you are, what have you heard about this? I know it's pretty fresh, but is this something that you had heard about in the past, or is this pretty new?
I told you this, Clark, before the show, but I was not expecting this news to drop today at all.
We didn't plan for this at all.
Blindsided by this news.
Yeah.
But as far as the accusations, and of course, I don't want to assume anything. We don't know details about what exactly is being investigated. But if the source that's coming out is correct, I'm not at all surprised. I think most people, in the hockey world, either if they've they heard about it or if they forgot, it was, we call him Barstool Bob. That's kind of his key. There's Bargain Bob because he likes to go dumpster diving for, washed up talent, thinking he can revitalize them. And then there's Barstool Bob because during the 2009 playoff series against the Red Wings, he was in the press box at the Joe Louis Arena. He threw a bar stool after that Game 7 loss, and it hit and injured a woman because he was so upset. And, honestly, given from what I've heard from people in the organization, from people I know close to people in the organization, this is the least surprising news that I have heard in quite some time. And it kind of makes me think back to when Adam Henrique was placed on waivers last year, and the fact that when he kind of justified it, it was, these guys need to step up. This is to send a message. It was just, just things like that really kind of make you think like, yeah, that would probably have some emotional toll on a player just to send a message there from a guy like Adam Henrique. And then you think about, the fact that there is all these there's all these rumors of him, mistreating people. And he's a guy that definitely likes to control what's going on in the organization from what I hear, and that's why they say when you need to revamp something totally, it's got to be from the top down. And this, I think, is the very beginning of that. And, listen, the Ducks are off to a great start now. And I think that's they're in good hands right now with Jeff Solomon being the interim GM. He obviously did great things with the LA Kings and revamped their analytics department. But, you just think back to that point in time in 2019. It was after he fired Randy Carlyle. And rather than look for a new head coach, because the plan was to have Dallas Eakins step in after he didn't want to pull Dallas Eakins away from the Gulls, the AHL affiliate. So he stepped in and was the interim head coach from, I want to say like February to the end of the season, which was only 2 months at that point because the Ducks weren't making the playoffs. But it just makes me think that if all these things that players are saying, and I think it was Pat Maroon that even said he was on the what's the podcast with Shane O'Brien and Scotty Upshall? Missing Curfew. He even said that Bob Murray would harass him about his weight and staying under and losing weight and things like that. And it just kind of made me think that period of time for the Ducks players could not have been enjoyable having him behind the bench. So I do think that this was, not to say a repercussion, but kind of the beginning of the trickle effect of what's going on in Chicago currently. The fact that people are being empowered to step up and speak up when people are either being mistreated or people are abusing their power in that regard. And I've been saying it actually for about a year now. I feel like the sport itself and the fan base is evolving and kind of progressing with time. And evolving with time, whereas the league itself really isn't. And that's from everywhere. That's from player safety. That's from public relations. That's from the community outreach we've seen. Because the NHL, that's why they say the best sport, the worst league. Like some of the decisions that they make, you just kind of scratch your head at. And you're like, who's thinking of these things? So I do think that, this is the very beginning of, the turning of tides for a lot of people in the sport, especially these older guys that have felt so secure in their jobs. And Bob Murray's been the GM here for 14 years now. It's, that's almost unheard of, with the exception of Nashville, of course, but that's almost unheard of in most regards for a general manager. No, if it was anybody else that, especially after that 2018-2019 debacle there, no other GM would have kept their job. And a lot of people were blaming ownership because the couple that owns the Ducks, Henry and Susan Samueli, the people that bought from Walt Disney, they're not hockey people, but they're very friendly with their front office as well. So everyone kind of assumed that Bob had this job security because he was friendly with ownership. But one thing about Henry and Susan Samueli is that they are pivotal big figures in Orange County. They give a lot of money, a lot of places. They named the engineering school at UC Irvine is named after them. They donate millions to children's hospitals, I think both in LA and in Orange County. So public perception and, being a good organization and being positive in the community is very important to them. So I do commend the Ducks for getting on this immediately, putting him on leave as soon as the independent investigation kind of was leading towards that being the right thing to do. Obviously, we'll wait to see how things come out. We're going to get more information about what happened here, of course. And I just I send good thoughts to anybody that feel that maybe was affected negatively, and pray to God not worse from this, because I don't know if you've ever worked a bad job or had like a bad boss, but it really can mess with you in a lot of ways, especially outside of work. So hope everyone's okay in that regard. But at the end of the day, if these accusations are true and the investigation proves that, good riddance.
Go ahead, Max. You had
Oh no, I was going to say, and that you kind of hit it right on the head there, Annie. And when it comes to GMs, I guess around the league, they can't all be nice guys like David Poyle. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay. We have some viewer questions for you, especially since we're talking Ducks. And I kind of mentioned this in your live stream the other day, but we are located at the home of the Regina Pats here. Sam Steele and Josh Mahura are on the Ducks, or at least in the organization. And we have a couple people asking. After watching them every day, I'm wondering if they're still coming along, Emery Wolf says. Still getting better, and if the Ducks see them as a big part of the team's future. Also, should I buy a Steele jersey? And then Brett Ellick asked, make sure you ask about Sam Steele and Josh Mahura. So two players that we hold very dear to us up here because they were a big part of our team here in the WHL up north. But they have been pretty heavily touted prospects. At least Sam. I know Josh kind of came along as well, but Sam was a first-round pick. And we've noticed, up here that he's down there, obviously, but his numbers haven't necessarily taken a whole lot of steps. So what have you noticed maybe let's start with Sam specifically. What have you noticed with him in his development over the last couple of years?
I mean, first of all, I feel like Sam Steele, the one moment that sticks in my mind is that insane overtime goal with that beautiful pass to Jamie Drysdale to win it in overtime.
Yes.
So that just kind of
That's the real Sam Steele, I promise. Yeah.
And also, you should buy a Sam Steele jersey. You absolutely should. But no, I honestly, both he and Josh Mahura are really, I think, key parts to this young core. It can't all be Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale, who are obviously the shiny new toys, because, just a couple years ago, the two big guys were Troy Terry and Sam Steele. Like, everybody was talking about them, especially after, once 2017, that 2017 ended the way it did, and they were able to come up after and get some games in there as well. As far as development goes, and I was going to talk about this a little bit more when, just in case you guys brought up Zegras and Drysdale, but I kind of feel like so many people really that saying where it's like the armchair GM or like people kind of talking behind the keyboard. I feel that the most with player development, in the sense that you can see there's so much more than what we see on the screen, and people think they have a good idea of, the best thing to do. Oh, you're not giving this guy enough ice time. And Jamie Drysdale is the guy up at the forefront of that, because he's getting the second most ice time of the team, right behind Hampus Lindholm, his defensive partner. And it kind of makes me think of it kind of like how NFL quarterbacks are, or rookie NFL quarterbacks are when they come into the league. It's kind of like, well, do you give them the keys, or do you have them be the backup, take in a year, sit behind an older guy in the league where he can kind of show him the ropes kind of thing. And to me, it really depends on the coach. It kind of depends on the team aspect there. I need to get away from football for a second, but I kind of transfer it in both sports here. But I really do. This is really a good year for the young guys to really step up, and they've done so. I hope this shows a lot of people that once you give the keys, giving the young guys the keys, putting them in these pivotal moments, this is their time. Give them the chance to shine, and they'll have the veterans there for help. Ryan Getzlaff and Adam Henrique are obviously having good starts to the years as well. But no, I love watching those two play. I love every time I do anything, anything Canadian related. I always get the Saskatchewan people asking me about Troy, about Sam Steele and Josh Mahura.
That's good. Again, they hold special places, especially in my heart. I worked with the team when they were on the team, so those guys are awesome. Annie, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit, and then we're going to give you a rapid fire to kind of end off the chat. But you're a champion in the women in sports media landscape, I want to say. You're an advocate. You empower others, I'd like to say. I've seen some of your videos where you're, pumping other people up a little bit. I love it. And there's been a lot of positive movement in that side of the industry in the last few years, but there's also been some steps backwards at times as well. It's not a perfect line upwards, as you might say, but what do you think some of the next steps that need to happen are in order to get this to the next level, this movement to the next level?
I think people need to put more women in not only positions of power, but positions of influence, positions where they're in front, they're able to add to the conversation. I think that's one thing, growing up for me, people, the place where you would see women in sports media was being Erin Andrews doing the sideline reporting. And that's not to disrespect them by any means. If that's what you want to do, go for it. They provide a lot of great content, great value there. I think for me, I really want to contribute to the conversation. I want to be at the table. I want to be putting points out there. And I feel like the majority of the time where women are put there, they're either the host, they're the Molly on the first take, where they're like calming down Stephen A. and Mac. Well, it's not Max Kellerman anymore, but I feel like a lot of times people just kind of put women in places as their token hires rather than really giving opportunity for women, inviting them to have a seat at the table in these prominent places, especially, and that was one thing I will say about, the ESPN broadcast deal, I think, is doing a great job highlighting women. Obviously, Leah Hextall has been able to call some of the Ducks games, and it's been awesome. Honestly, I hope that there's young girls out there that want to do play-by-play one day and are inspired by her and the work she's been doing. But the TNT panel for me, and while it's entertaining, there's not one woman on that panel. And listen, I get it. You got Paul Bissonnette, you got Wayne Gretzky, you've got these big, personalities and obviously big people in hockey. Wayne Gretzky, no big deal. But it's about, expanding your horizons here more. And I think a lot of people, companies, organizations, whatever, really don't prioritize that. They still see women as, gotta look nice. They can come in and do the sideline reporting. They can't contribute here. And it's really disappointing because there's a lot of women out there specifically, in the sport of hockey that can contribute great things to the conversation. I think that's the best part about TikTok form, where you can speak your mind and you can make content that you love and that you want to see. And one thing I love, and Clark, you can probably chime in as well, is, kind of seeing the young talent that's coming up and the people, the fact that the game and, sports media, the people that are aspiring to do these big things, like the game's in good hands. One of my favorite people, and I'm going to give her a shout out, I don't know if she's listening, but is NHL Ava. I adore her.
I was just going to read you some comments. She's watching.
She's going to be a star. I absolutely adore her. I love how inclusive she is. I love how much she loves the game. Honestly, she's going to be on MSG Network. She's going to be on TNT, ESPN, whatever she wants to do. And people are going to listen to her and feel more inclined to watch the game of hockey, feel like they're welcome to watch the game. And I think that's also a huge part of putting more women and more, diverse LGBTQ people in these prominent media, in on-air personalities, is that hockey is still a sport where it feels like it's not for everybody. And people are still very intimidated to come in and ask questions about the game. But I think that we got to do better. We have to do better. It starts with us. It's more than just a hashtag. It's more than just the pride tape. It's more than just we skate for Black lives. We got to be welcoming and a lot of people are on TikTok as well, but be open and welcoming to newer fans and who may not know things and want to ask questions. But honestly, the future for women is very bright. And at the end of the day, I know I kind of steered off topic with this question, but
no, you haven't. This is perfect.
Make space for women at the table. That's the big thing. People can say they support women in sports. They'll retweet stuff, but hire women. Put women in these positions of power. Put women in these positions where they can contribute to the conversation. I think that's what's most important.
Well, did you bring the tissues? Because Ava just commented in and she says, I'm crying. I love you guys. Oh, my God. So there you go.
Aww.
Ava is watching. She also said, shout out. She said, 100% Annie has been my biggest inspiration in sports. So there you go, Annie. Yeah, I know, right?
I adore her. She wore a Trevor Zegras jersey yesterday, and I know she's in New York, and it just made me so happy because I was that girl repping the Ducks in New York, and I was getting looked everywhere. People were like, what's a Ducks fan doing here? And while I'm not there, Ava's holding it down for me.
Shout out to Jacob Trouba for Ava too. She she enjoys Jacob Trouba as a hockey player for sure. If you follow her on Twitter, she'll tell you that. We got a rapid fire for you now, and then we're gonna let you go, Annie. We got, what do we got? Okay. 5 or 6, and then some might pop up as we go. Now, I know we were going to talk a little bit of Dodgers with you, but maybe we'll save that for next time. Kershaw or Scherzer? If you have one game, who are you going with?
Or who you signed this
one
offseason.
game? Is it a playoff game? Is it?
Let's say, yeah, it's a big moment, playoff game,
healthy?
Game 7, elimination. They're both, yeah, everything's equal in terms of health.
And they're both in their third. They're today's age. They're their current age.
Today's age, yeah. Current player, I would say, yeah, current player.
Max Scherzer.
There it is. I think I might have to go with that.
It's the right answer. I love Clayton. I will always love Clayton. I hope he re-signs with the Dodgers, but it's Max Scherzer.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Max?
Oh, no. I was
Looked like you were going to say something.
Well, no, just in the sense of who you're signing this offseason, but I think the emphatic answer for Scherzer, I think that pretty much answers the question as well.
If you could only sign one, let's say for a full season, let's go with that angle, Kershaw or Scherzer.
Oh, you're gonna.
I'm really tugging at the heartstrings here.
You're tugging at the heartstrings, and you're gonna get me in mad trouble.
Okay, we'll clip this and we'll make sure we put it on Twitter right after this.
Oh God, no! Dodgers Twitter is ruthless. They're gonna come after me. Okay, I know what I want to say, but it's also okay. Max Scherzer. Okay.
Oh, all right. There we go. Clayton Kershaw, future Toronto Blue Jay.
He's a Cy Young nominee this year. Okay. Yeah,
I mean, he's pretty good. Future Toronto Blue Jay, Clayton Kershaw. There we go. All right, you're in the.
Y'all got enough former Dodgers as it is. Come on.
I know. We got to bring back Ross Stripling. We got to bring him back. You're in the California area. You got a couple new football teams there: the LA Rams or the LA Chargers.
I am a Baltimore Ravens fan currently. But I did grow up a San Diego Chargers fan, so I will say the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, there you go.
I have a soft spot in my heart for that organization. I can't help it, even though Dean Spanos is one of my least favorite people on the planet. But I can't help but root for that team, especially, I mean, Justin Herbert, hard guy not to like. But, I mean, especially when Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates were still playing, I mean, I can't not root for those guys, even though I turned my back.
Oh, man.
I mean, he didn't need to move to LA, but it was absolute. I agree. Yes.
Yeah. Now Max is he just had single tear rolled down his cheek as his Aaron Donald jersey or shirt underneath his jersey just got a little bit.
Hey man, I'm a ginger. I got no soul. We'll be all right.
Oh, okay.
I can't buy into the Rams quite yet, but I get it.
Even with Von Miller, Annie, come on now.
Nah, I mean, LA is a Raiders town. I mean, they tell you that at the beginning of every broadcast at SoFi Stadium, but LA is very much still a Raiders town. So it's, even though LA has kind of accepted the Chargers, I was going to say redheaded stepchild, but you are redheaded, so I'll take that back. But they're kind of like the odd stepchild in the mix.
That's right.
Okay, I feel like I know the answer to this one because we kind of talked about it earlier, but old Ducks logo, of course, the beautiful one, or the new one?
Old Ducks logo.
Yeah,
come
of
on.
course. That one's easy.
That's a quick rapid fire.
That's a quick rapid. That's literally rapid fire.
I don't hate the new Ducks logo as much as most people do, but I mean, the old one it was perfect. The color scheme, the logo itself, everything was picture perfect.
The diagonal lines every time get me. So here's maybe a harder one that you have to think about a little bit more. Ryan Getzlaff or Teemu Selanne?
In terms of what?
What do you think, Max? What are we saying?
Just all-time favorite. You got to pick one.
Favorite.
Who's on the organization? Who's the one and near dear?
We're leaving Paul Kariya out of this because Paul Kariya's up here, and then you can pick between the other two. Yeah.
Paul Kariya is certainly. If there's a Ducks Mount Rushmore, all three of these guys are on it. No questions asked. for me personally, I mean, I love Timu. I've met him so many times, and he's literally the nicest guy. My brother's played high school hockey with his sons, so I've seen Timu many a time. I mean, as far as being a hockey fan, I mean, even that's hard.
This is a show that's based out of Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, hometown of Ryan Getzlaf.
No
I
pressure
know,
here.
but I mean, the only reason why I know one CFL team is because Chris Getzlaf played for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Only reason I know that.
Yeah.
But,
Actually, funny story. We had Chris Getzlaf on the show that I produce upstairs the day before Ryan Getzlaf re-signed with the Ducks, and he kind of told us he's probably re-signing with the Ducks, and we were like, oh, okay, cool. So that was a little fun story.
Big brother always knows.
Yeah.
Always knows.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been a hot discussion as of late, especially since Getzlaf passed Timu on the all-time Ducks scoring list, and Getsy's on his way to passing 1,000, which obviously Timu did that long ago. But as far as like the best Duck, it's definitely Getzlaf. He's been there his entire career, been the captain for 10 plus years. I mean, both Timu and him were really pinnacles of the hockey community and building up hockey in Southern California. So both were just so instrumental to the organization and so near and dear to the fan base's hearts. But I mean, fan favorite for me growing up is Timu, but I mean, Getsy's, this is hard. You're asking me to pick between my children here. Like
Sophie's choice. It's the real Sophie's choice for
no,
Ducks
literally.
fans. Yeah.
All right.
We'll go with it though. I think you answered it good enough. I think I accept
I like to
that.
think I did. I skirted around the answer as much as I could. But.
That's all right. We'll take that one. That's a tough one. Okay, this one should be a bit more cut and dry. Celebrating a Dodgers World Series win or a Ducks Stanley Cup win?
Ducks Stanley Cup win.
Oh, there it is. Yep, I like it.
I was too young I wasn't too young, but I was 14 years old when the Ducks won the Stanley Cup in 2007. So I remember it, but you couldn't really celebrate. I want to celebrate as an adult. Like I want to really hone in on it. I want to go to the game. I want to drink as much beer as I can. Plus hockey's my favorite sport. So I want another Stanley Cup. I got my World Series last year. If you want to call it a Mickey Mouse ring, you want to call it an asterisk, go ahead. I don't care. I got my World Series. I'm good. That's why, honestly, losing in the NLCS this year really didn't hurt that much. It didn't hurt. It sucked, obviously, but like nothing compared to the pain of recent years because I got my World Series.
There you go. You got
I was
one.
like, it's all right.
Not that
Everything
bad.
from here, we're good.
All right. Well, Annie, we're going to let you go, and we will, but you're on our list to come back because we're going to, once the MLB offseason maybe heats up a little bit more, we'll bring you back, talk a little Dodgers, maybe a little bit more NFL when we get closer to playoffs. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Had a blast, and again, we'll hope we can do it again soon.
Thanks a ton, Annie.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast, and I'm honored to already be on the list to come back. So I guess I did okay.
You're on it. All right. Well, have a great night, Annie. Where can everybody follow you and find your stuff?
Well, you can follow me on any social media platform at Sweet Annie OD. That's Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok, which we talked a lot about tonight. Podcast is OD on Sports. You can stream it anywhere, wherever podcasts are streamed. New episode is actually going to come out tomorrow morning, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, we will talk about all the Ducks drama and everything going on there. And radio show, if you're in Orange County, which I know this is based in Saskatchewan, but it is available online. It is 3 to 5 Pacific Standard Time every Sunday. We talk every sport. My co-host is not a big hockey fan, but I'm slowly getting him into it. We're slowly introducing him to the sport, and he's willing to learn, willing to watch, but a lot of NFL, fantasy football talk, a lot of baseball as well. So if that piques any of your interest, feel free to tune in. 101.5 KOCI. And that's me.
Amazing. Well, Annie, we'll let you go. Have a great night, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Annie.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Of course, our video guests, as always, are brought to you by our friends at IKS Media. IKS Live comes up on the screen, so I guess we can shout them out too.
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
Max, we were together on an IKS Live broadcast just this past weekend, again, for the Ultimate Fantasy League Baseball. So maybe we need to bring Annie on as a consultant too, because we need some NL West
We need NL West
insights.
coverage, absolutely.
So, Annie, if you're still listening, you might have a job offer on the table.
As if her schedule wasn't already busy enough. Right?
Yeah, no, we need your help. So anyways, IKS Media is your number one place for live broadcasts, video screens, live entertainment, and so much more. You can hit them up at iksmedia.com for more information and check them out. They have a great design team, animation team. We just checked out. They're making NFTs.
We
now.
literally just talked to
I don't
the
even know if I'm
design
allowed
team.
to say this, but they're
Yeah,
making
don't.
NFTs, and they're pretty crazy.
Okay, we're going to try and put that genie back in the bottle, but okay. Yeah,
I think,
it's out there now.
I think I'm allowed to say a blank. They're making NFTs and not say what it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll see if you have a key
Yeah.
that still works tomorrow. I guess we'll see.
Am I getting fired? I don't know. We'll see. Sorry, Paul. Anyways, we're going to hit up a break. And when we come back, we got some NFL picks
Can
to
we
make.
not do squad select this week, please?
Why?
I
'Cause
need
you're
a
struggling
week
so
off.
hard?
This sucks.
Imagine how I felt the last
just-
2 times we've done it, Max.
You mean years? Yeah, I've had a couple bad weeks. You've had a couple bad
Yeah,
weeks.
exactly.
All right, I'm back in.
My buddy Jacob Naval down in California says if you need a scout, I'll interview for the job too. So we might have a couple of baseball friends coming into the fold in terms of our franchise that I cannot name yet. But anyways, we're gonna hit a break. 2.5 minutes. We'll be right back. We got NFL, NHL. What else we got on the way? Blue Jays.
Blue Jays.
So we got some stuff to talk about. See you in a couple minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Perfect. All right, we're coming back. Jordan, I didn't hear you there. I heard you talking, but I didn't hear you. So something's going on with our IFPs today. But either way, we're back. I knew we were coming back, so we're good. Let's get into a little bit of hockey talk here to kind of wrap up our thoughts for the day. Max has something he wants to talk about with the Predators. I got a little thing I want to talk about with the Leafs. But Max, you want to start it off? You want to do your? I see you're wearing a special jersey.
I thought you were teeing me up for a home run. Sorry, that was more like a double down the line.
Hold on, I'll tee you up. I'm just asking if you're ready because I knew you were checking something on your phone.
Sorry,
so
I was elevating out there. Yeah.
So, obviously, a pretty huge part of the Nashville Predators organization retired in the last couple of months. Obviously, Max just got his brand new beautiful jersey, Pekka Rinne, number 35, and it's heading to the rafters in Nashville. So, Max, what's going on? Pekka Rinne's retirement. What does this mean to you and the organization?
I mean, this was as automatic as a Steph Curry 3-ball, really. It's, man.
So it was 46% or whatever?
Something like that. Either way, hey, at the end of the day, there's been a lot of banners raised in Nashville. Everybody knows the jokes, and that, whatever else. But you know what? This one, truly, the first member of the organization to have his number retired, not a person better to deserve the honor. When you talk about Pekka Rinne, and we were talking about making Twitter clips before this, it's hard when you try to sum up this man's career and what he meant to the Nashville Predators. But man, oh man, what a great steward of the organization, somebody that embodied the philosophies of exactly what you want, as Annie mentioned, a very responsible, very community-first led organization. That's exactly what Pekka Rinne embodied for the Nashville Predators. And as his number is retired, on his birthday, no less, in February in Smashville, man, that's going to be a fun game to tune into, and that's going to be quite the ceremony for somebody that is more than deserving of this. I don't know if there's a word, like I said, automatic. This was a slam dunk, zero question about it. This man's number deserves to be retired and forever immortalized in the rafters at Bridgestone Arena. And I just simply can't wait for the ceremony in late February. And like I said, just to see Pekka around the rink again, it's going to be a great time. So congrats to Pekka. And man, oh man, February 24th, it's going to be a fun day.
Absolutely. Now, we do have a bit of an announcement that we will make after this next segment because it kind of ties the two together. Or this next topic, I should say, not segment. But I was going to get into a little bit of Leafs rumors that were kind of floating around. They've had Travis Dermott and Justin Hall kind of going in and out of the lineup the last couple of games. And I'm not overly concerned by it as a Leafs fan, but there has been some rumors surfacing now that both players may be on the trade block. Nick Kyprios mentioned it. A few other people have mentioned it now. And James Myrtle came out the other day and said that the return for these guys might actually be a little bit more than people actually think. And for me, these last couple of games, we've seen the big four guys, the core four, as they call them, Nylander, Tavares, Matthews, and Marner. They've scored the last 14 goals that the Leafs have scored, the four of them. And
probably a good thing to do when you're taking up half the cap.
Yeah, no, that's good. But the point is that nobody else is scoring right now. And what worries me about that is, they addressed some needs in the offseason with David Kampf coming in, defensive center, getting a guy like Andre Kasha who can kind of do a little bit of everything.
Michael Bunting
hasn't been great yet, though. Andre Kasha hasn't been great. Bunting's definitely proven that he belongs on the team. Nick Ritchie, they practiced him with Matthews today, so he's kind of got some fluctuation going on. Hasn't really found a spot yet. And then you got a guy like Kerfoot who's been around, and they protected him in the offseason, $3.5 million. And he's looked good on the Marner line with Tavares and Marner, I will say that. But at the same time, we got to start seeing him putting numbers on the board. And my wonder is that I wonder if they're now at a point where they can deal a defenseman like a Justin Hall, who has $2 million, and a guy maybe like a Pierre Engvall or an Ilya Mikheyev who's coming back from injury. I'm wondering if they can maybe package them for a forward to actually supplement some secondary scoring, because it sounds weird. The Leafs for years haven't really needed a forward necessarily with the amount of money, like you said, that they are spending on the forwards. But now they're at a point where their secondary scoring is taking a hit because the guys they brought in, they're playing well, but they aren't scoring. So they need to take a little bit of pressure off those big guys so that they don't have to score 14 goals in a row. They need some other guys to chip in, which to me in the long run will actually help those bigger guys because there'll be less pressure on them. They don't have to squeeze their stick so hard. They don't have to force it. They don't have to stay out for longer shifts. They don't have to double shift, stuff like that. It'll actually make them better in the long run too. So the one guy that I've had my eye on as a fanalist is Adrian Kempe from the LA Kings. Now, the LA Kings, Doughty's been hurt for a couple of months. They lost Sean Walker to injury the whole season. Sean Walker's out. So if maybe a Justin Holler or a Travis Dermott fits into their plans and maybe helps them on the blue line, maybe you send a forward who can kind of fill in for Kempe. I think Kempe would be a nice little fit. $2 million RFA after this year. Can score, has scored. He's physical. He's kind of got some size. Great skater. A guy like that, I think, would be a nice little fit. And third line guy, maybe second liner, depending on what you need him for. So he could be really interesting. But I'm at a place right now where I'm wondering if trading a defenseman for a forward after years of trading forwards for defensemen, Nylander comes to mind. That happened almost every day for the last couple of years. But I think it's almost flipped now. I think secondary scoring is becoming a need, and it's a really interesting time. 5-game winning streak, get blown out by LA, and all of a sudden, it got me thinking about trades.
I don't know, man. And the other thing, too, with the Leafs, right, and again, you can answer this better than anybody else, but again, the sense of urgency to potentially make a move or two now that you know what Morgan Riley's cap hit is going to be starting next season.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is where we talk about it. 5 guys taking up as much salary, as much of the cap as the Leafs are paying their top 5 guys. What does that mean for the rest of the team? What are we starting to see? Has it not been proven to the Leafs yet that you need more than 5 guys to build a championship caliber team? You can bring in Adrian Kempe all you want. You can bring in Michael Bunting all you want. You can bring in Andre Kasha and David Kampf and Josh Hosang potentially getting a look with the team. I know you're
That's
excited
another
about
one that I might be interested in seeing. They need to sign him to an NHL contract, though, first.
But when it comes to this is, again, how many of the entry-level type contracts, how many of the $1 to $2 million filler guys can you go through before you realize it's just not working, having so much invested in only 5 members of a 22-man unit? That's the thing that I struggle with the Leafs. Again, we talk about it every year. It's great to lock up the guys that sell you the most jerseys, and it's fantastic when they are supremely talented players. I'm not taking anything away from those guys. Austin Matthews, incredible player. Mitch Marner, listening today.
He's come on.
He's gotten
hot lately.
But what happens when the pressure cooker gets to him?
Yeah.
That's the thing that's a little bit scary when you look at the Leafs. This is all great, again, in November, but come April, when it really, truly matters to you guys now, right? And saying this as affectionately as I can, is it going to work?
Right.
We haven't seen it yet. What's to tell you that this story is going to end any different?
Well, we haven't seen anything this year that has told me otherwise, because they've been nothing but inconsistent so far. Even during the winning streak, that winning streak included a not very good game against Chicago where they barely squeaked out. Not very good. Well, Vegas, but Vegas was decimated with injuries. They did play great against Boston, and I would say that they had a decently solid game against the Lightning.
But it's easy to get up for those games, right? It's easy to get up for the division rival games.
They need to start beating teams that they are supposed to beat, and that includes the LA Kings.
Not just go in and win a 3-2 game by the skin of your teeth.
Exactly.
You got to beat
those they should
guys.
have beat Chicago 7-1. Like, it shouldn't have been close, and it
shouldn't have lost to Pittsburgh 7-1.
Well, that, and especially Pittsburgh with all the injuries they had too, but especially Chicago, like with everything going on with Chicago on that day, and they still had a tough time with it. It just, there's nothing that screams massive confidence. So that's where I'm just wondering, I hear you when you say, how many of the minor pieces do they have to bring in until they realize it's just not working? I think they have to keep trying. Like, they're in a situation where they have to.
They got no other choice.
They have no other
kind of
choice.
backed themselves into a bit of a corner.
Exactly.
And the one constant that has been there to start this season, again, it being a little bit early, Jack Campbell's looked pretty damn good.
Oh, he's been good.
Is he going to be worth $5 million Freddie money next year? In which case, you guys are in trouble.
See, now maybe they're waiting on that in terms of
waiting on him to falter a little bit.
No. I know you don't love diving super deep in the Leafs, and we'll end it. I promise.
No, I'm trying.
I know, yeah, and I appreciate it so much. You don't understand. I'm venting here.
Yes,
but maybe they're waiting on Jack Campbell's extension, like you said, with Morgan Riley's. Now they know Morgan Riley's and where they're going to be sitting with him next year and beyond. Maybe they're waiting to get that extension with Campbell done, so they truly know where they're going to be next year. Because the rest of the free agents going into next season are, like you said, kind of the extra pieces. They can come and go as they please. None of them are truly impactful. They need to be impactful. That's what they need. Like I said, secondary scoring isn't. There's none of it right now. But it's the exchangeable pieces, the Engvalls, Mikheyev is a free agent. Spezza, who now he's not exchangeable. He's he's
Can't give
unbelievable.
Spezza away. That's
I'm
about
not,
as good
I'm
a
not
contract
bashing
as you're getting
Spezza,
in the NHL.
but I think we're pretty confident that he might be staying on the Leafs for a while. The way he's talked about it.
Tom Brady of the Leafs.
Exactly. Even I would say he's given up more than Tom Brady has given up, I would even say.
Yes.
But either way, we will leave it there.
No. Let's not leave it there. Let's go one.
You wanna
more
keep
point,
going?
One more point further, because I think this is the
This
other
is a
thing.
great day.
It's a great day. I'll give you your day.
Okay.
I'm sitting here. I'm feeling good wearing my Nashville Predators Pecorino jersey.
Yeah.
Either way. So when it comes to the Leafs here, again, this is the last button point that will be on it. And I know it's been said thousands of times on podcasts.
Yeah.
Thousands of times probably upstairs when you're producing the Rod Peterson show every day. Jordan is probably loving hearing it. But nobody, when they sign these big four contracts, big five is obviously after knowing what the economic landscape is going to be. When these contracts were signed, nobody saw COVID coming. Nobody thought that there was going to be a cap freeze for 2 or 3 years. The fact of the matter is, the Toronto Maple Leafs are a great hockey team if the cap is $95 to $100 million. And that's not the world that we're living in.
I think the projection from where it should have been in today's economics without COVID, I think it was supposed to be around 90.
But even before COVID, though, it's the failure to adapt, I think, that's really been the crux in a lot of the fan base's minds, right? Because, again, it's been 5 years of the same old story. 2 of those years are only with COVID, right? So it's...
Yeah. I don't know if... Okay, so that argument has been made. 5 years of the same thing, right?
Right.
I would argue that every year, to me, in my mind, I don't know if my mind's just messed up and twisted, but every year has been slightly different. You have to remember, the first year, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner were both rookies. William Nylander was still 20 the first year. They didn't have John Tavares yet, of course. Then he comes in and massively shifts the organization's entire acceleration plan. Like, it zoomed it up there right away. They were no longer...
Do I need to go get a razor and grab my Ryan Leslie take now, Clark? Come on now.
They were no longer... well, they were no longer a rebuilding team.
Nope.
They were immediately pushed into a different stratosphere of expectation, bringing in John Tavares. So,
as you should when you have the number 1, the number 4, and the number 8 overall
exactly.
pick.
But I think other teams that we see, like maybe a Tampa or something like that, they had all these guys too. They had Stamkos, Hedman, et cetera, but they didn't go out and add some massive free agent like 2 years in and speed it all up. So I don't think the organization was good enough when Tavares got signed to be... Like, it changed everything. I don't think it was good enough to be at a part where, we're automatically Stanley Cup contenders. There was a lot of flaws.
Take John Tavares away from that team and add 3 pieces of the $3 million mark. Are you guys a better team?
That's the argument. Well, you keep Kadri, for example.
Right.
Then you maybe go out and get a different defenseman. Maybe you go out and get another depth scoring winger. Like you said, that's the argument.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
And
trust me.
hindsight's 2020, right? We're never going to get that answer. The fact is, they've
It's
made
that
their
Kanye clip, right?
It's Kanye.
They wanted to see what would happen if I didn't win. Well, I guess we'll never know.
Okay.
And that's the same with that. You know.
Alrighty, and done.
Done. Cut it. NFL. No.
That was not a Twitter clip.
No, that was a YouTube clip. That was definitely a long-form YouTube clip. However, our announcement has to do with your team and my team, because next week on the SquadCast, how many people we got watching right now? We got our crew in here. Next week on the SquadCast, we are going to be actually doing a different format. We're not going to be doing this show necessarily.
A lot of people are like, thank goodness.
God. We are going to be doing a live stream watch party of the Leafs and Predators as they play Tuesday night next week, which is our show night. So we are going to be upstairs in a different kind of location. We're going to be watching the game along with you. You can watch with us. We're going to bring guests on during the intermission, Joel Henderson and Craig Ballard. Joel's going to talk all sorts of draft talk, junior hockey, but also everything else. Craig, we're going to kind of go off and go with the Raptors and baseball with Craig, of course, but we'll mix up the vibe a little bit with Craig. And then throughout the game, we're going to be chirping each other. Max probably more than me, because Max is that kind of guy.
Man, I didn't realize that the bus was getting backed up right over
I shouldn't
me
be mean to you, because you just did a Leaf segment with me.
I know. This is what I get for being nice. See, it's easier to be mean because it keeps you on your toes.
Exactly. And
Be
I
nice
do
to you, and all
appreciate
of a
it.
sudden,
But
jeez.
we're going to be doing a full live stream of the game along with you. So it's going to start earlier. We're going to start at 6 o'clock. So keep that in mind. The game starts at 6. We're going to start right as soon as the game starts. Maybe a slight pregame show, just kind of, get into
Jeez,
it.
how much time you got in a day?
More than you, apparently.
I guess so.
Well, you get here early enough. We don't have to do as much like topic prep for this
Stripe
one.
shop closes at 5, pal.
Yeah, you'll get here in time.
yeah.
You'll be fine. We'll have
Thank
it all
goodness
set
for
up.
the time zone
You'll
switch.
slide in just like you did for the Fantasy League baseball
That's
show.
right.
You'll slide right in. We'll just hit play and go.
Plug and play, man.
But
Fly
anyways,
to a
that's
player.
going to be next week's episode, a live stream, Leafs Predators, special guest. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to try a new format, see how it goes. Maybe we'll do it more often. Maybe we'll do it here and there, do it for other games. I don't know. We'll see. We got to get into some, what do you want to do first, Blue Jays or NFL?
I think we
Blue
only
Jays?
got time for NFL. There's not a ton on the Jays.
There
front
really
right now.
isn't.
There's a lot of, again, rumors and speculation. So hopefully next week when
Let's
we
save
chat-
it. We'll talk with Craig next week.
Yes, absolutely.
I like
yeah,
it.
save it for Craig.
Battle game and squad select, I guess. I should say
Wanna
squad
pick the
select and
battle.
battle
Can I
game.
defer? Can this be a coin toss where I defer?
So
I don't
what was
want
our
the
records
battle
last
game.
week? I went 3-2, right? And you went 2-3? It wasn't that bad. I think I went 3-2.
Was-
Do you have it?
yeah. Where are you in the script right now? Are you on
Right at the bottom.
Segment 3?
I'm right at the bottom.
You're right at the bottom?
Welcome to the Austin Matthews Show. Rolf put that in there
Is that
last
Rolf
week.
or Jordan?
I think it was Rolf. He put it in there last week.
That's amazing.
It was
It's
Rolf,
true.
yeah. Yeah. I didn't even talk about Austin Matthews last week, did I?
Man, it's at that point now where you do it like, what's that? It's not
Subconsciously?
Is that subconsciously or
Yeah.
unconsciously?
If I was unconscious, I
affect
wouldn't
and
be
effect.
I wouldn't be breathing. Like if I was unconscious, you're
Well,
knocked
watching
out.
the Leafs does that to a guy,
Subconsciously is you do something without realizing it. Yeah.
So that's
Which is
that's the
pretty
one.
much what I do with Leafs
Yeah,
talk most of
100%.
the time. So was it 3-2? I was
Yeah.
3-2. You were 2-3.
Yeah.
So I gained another game on you, which is great. The battle
need 'em.
game this week. Do you want to go? What do we want to do? Saints Titans is a pretty good one. Chiefs Raiders.
The Titans are turning into my Washington football team.
I know, right?
I am sick of them.
Sick of those guys.
And this the ironic thing, as much as I love the hockey team in Nashville, I'm starting to really hate that football team.
Yeah.
Really am.
Do you want to
That
go?
just might be recent loss bias. I kind of like them. Actually.
That's fair.
The AFC.
I get it.
I'll take the Titans.
I get it.
I don't know. Just that Sunday night game, man.
Do you want to go?
Bills and
Chiefs-
Jets.
Bills Jets.
No.
Do you,
Actually, yeah, sure. Let's do that. I'll
Sure.
take,
Yeah.
I'll take the
Do you want to go Chiefs Raiders or do you want to go Browns Patriots? They're both 5 and
What about
4.
Rams and Niners on the Monday night?
The records aren't necessarily. They don't scream battle game to me.
No,
even
but my buddy
regardless of
Brad
how-
Senko would tell you that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be.
I think
just
Sunday night football,
fantastic
Chiefs
teams.
Raiders. They're both 5 and 4, 5 and 3.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
We'll go with that one.
Yeah, we'll go.
They're
with that.
division
The Chiefs have
rivals.
just not been the
Division
Chiefs
rivals,
this
right?
year.
Am I getting crazy? They're division rivals, aren't they?
Yeah, NFC West.
AFC
correct?
South.
AFC West.
South?
South.
I don't
Kansas
know.
City South?
I'm so bad with football.
I'm really
divisions.
bad with the AFC. I know the NFC like the back of my hand. The AFC, it's tough.
Yeah, NFC South. I know that one. Let's go into it, Max. You get first pick. Go ahead. Are you just getting PTSD from the last couple of weeks?
Well, I'm taking my Rams. I got to live and die with the guys.
That's fair.
It's not an easy pick, but I'm not seeing the board clearly. It's not about going with the easy picks anymore because none of them are easy.
No.
As we clearly saw with this week in
Last
the NFL,
week
none of them are
flipped
easy.
the whole league on its head. Anything can happen.
Got to
now.
throw a little extra stakes on Monday night with my boys. We'll go with the Rams first.
Yep, understandable. I'm gonna go with There's a couple options here that I kind of want to pick, and I'm worried that if I don't pick one, you'll pick the other one.
So take one.
I'm
then.
gonna go
It's good logic.
Bucks over the Washington football team. My boys, my anti-boys.
Hey, they played a good playoff game last year, so
That's
I don't know,
true.
Look out.
The Washington football team is that team that I just can never pick, and the Bucks are hot. Darren Dupont actually had them as number 1 on his power rankings this week. So
As long as you don't go on the Manning cast, you're fine. See
yeah,
that
right.
stat?
Yeah, I saw that.
Very interesting.
It is very interesting. I'm gonna go with Dupont's number 1 team in the Bucks over the WFTs.
Surprised he didn't go with his Titans at number 1 after that.
He had
show
them
on
at number
Sunday
2.
night.
I think he was just trying to be
Trying to
as-
not
he was
be us.
yeah.
Trying to be a little biased, not a lot of bias.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
more or less.
Hey man, they showed out on Sunday night. Their
More or
defense
less.
in the first half was great. Bills over Jets.
Bills over
the
Jets.
Bills have to avenge. You can't lose to Jacksonville and the Jets back-to-back weeks if you are indeed a Super Bowl contender like most people are making the Buffalo Bills out to be. So Josh Allen, you're not having to face Josh Allen this week. Tighten it up, my friend. Tighten it up.
Absolutely. I'm gonna
You
go.
totally Ellioted me there.
I did a little bit.
Absolutely.
I got you, Josh
Absolutely.
Allen. I heard you the whole way. I am gonna go Steelers over Lions. I have a really strange feeling that this is gonna be the Lions' week to get their first win, but I will pick the Steelers in this one. I mean,
Steelers.
I have to bet against an 0-8 team. I have to, so I'll go Steelers.
The Steelers. Okay.
And Mike Tomlin, pretty good coach.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Hey, Lions coming off a bye week,
And-
though, man. Jared Goff might have found something.
There you go. That's what I mean. I'm worried. This one's striking me as a game where the Lions are going to get their first win. But also, Joe Booney's checking in, and Joe Booney was telling me earlier that Ben Roethlisberger is not a washed-up guy. The people saying he is are the ones that are washed up. So I'm going to go with my boy Joe Booney and say the Steelers will win.
Joe might have that little bit of bias there. Let's
He
just
might
say
be a
that.
little biased.
We're going to go with the Baltimore Ravens over the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. yeah, a good pick. I'd say that's a great pick.
That's all there is to
Actually,
say
I
about
should have
that
picked that one.
Yeah, you should have. I don't know why you
Dang.
didn't. I was like, oh, there's two on the board that are looking
Why am I not seeing that one?
pretty good.
The Ravens over the Dolphins?
Yeah, Thursday nighter.
Oh, that's why. Because it was
That's
up.
the one. You're
it
using
was-
Yahoo
it was
again, aren't ya?
separated. No, this is NFL.com, but it was
Well.
separated, and I was only looking at the Bills Jets.
You blew it.
I blew it.
You blew it.
I blew it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Good pick. Good
good.
pick. Let's see. What do we got? How many have I had here? I got
You've
two
had
picks,
two.
so I got two more to make, and then the battle game. Let's go with. So, did you see that Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee again today?
Yeah,
So
that's
he was
his
on
favorite program.
He was on Friday and he was on today, and he came on today essentially saying all he had to do was take one test, and if he passes it and clears it, he's good to go. So
Didn't they fine him or something? I think that just came down.
Some
They fined him
stuff's
like
going on.
$14,000 or something stupid.
yeah,
Yeah.
some stuff's going on with Aaron Rodgers, so that makes me want to avoid them. And Russell Wilson's coming back. I that's a tough one for me to pick though, because if Aaron Rodgers does play and he's coming out to prove a couple of things to a couple people, and Russell Wilson's coming back, that's a total crapshoot.
Could be a game of the week though, contender if both quarterbacks are playing.
If they both play, absolutely. So that I was gonna maybe take a chance on that one. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals over the Panthers here. You said it earlier today. Sam Darnold is not having a good time. Christian McCaffrey is back, and this could be his coming out game where he comes back, because he played last week. Didn't do a ton. I have him on my fantasy team. Didn't do a ton. And he could easily come back and come out with like a 35, 40-point fantasy week and just blow everybody out of the water. But I'm going to take my chances with the Cardinals on this one. They've done pretty good for me this season so far.
I like it.
Yeah.
If things go the way they're supposed to in the National Football League this week, the Dallas Cowboys are going to run roughshod over your Atlanta Falcons.
the Falcons
It's just
are hot, man.
I know, and that's what I mean. It's topsy-turvy.
They're
There's
hot.
things that are happening that are just not making sense. Dak is not going to get
Hot,
shut out. He's
cold.
not going to be
Katy
denied
Perry's
2
coming in
weeks in
here.
a row like this.
Yeah.
I got to go Cowboys over your Atlanta Falcons.
That's fair.
Just the way I got to go.
And shoot. I you know what? I'll go Colts over Jaguars here for I think my last pick, right?
I like that one.
The Jaguars are coming off the flukiest of flukes.
Hey, man, they're 2-7. They're looking good. They're looking good. 2-6. I don't know.
The
They had
Colts,
the bye week.
every time I've watched the Colts this year, I don't often go out of my way to watch the Colts right now. I mean, I used to with Peyton Manning and stuff, but
Right.
every time I've just flipped around and I've seen the Colts and I've watched for a little bit, I'm like, this team's pretty good.
Especially when you pick up Jonathan Taylor in fantasy. That
I
guy's
got
pretty
Jonathan
good.
Taylor,
Guy's
and
pretty
he has
good.
been rolling for me. So I'm going to go Colts over the Jags.
I like it. I hate picking
And then the battle game, right?
Oh,
So Chiefs Raiders. This isn't. I wouldn't say this is easy. I know the Raiders have a lot of drama around them right now, but
They
I mean,
just signed Deshaun Jackson.
they did. Where did I miss that?
Yeah, yesterday.
Was that just today?
Yeah,
Yesterday?
you're behind. It's fine.
I'm a little behind on that one.
And like the Chiefs just they don't look good. And the Raiders, like you said, there's a lot going on there. Man, I got a lot of primetime action here. You're gonna have to wait to find out some results.
Yeah,
Because
you got the later games, huh?
we got the Sunday nighter, I got the Monday nighter, and
Yeah.
the Thursday nighter. So I
Yeah.
only got 2 on Sunday.
Well, we'll know
3
about one
Sunday,
early
I
on.
guess, but
Go Dolphins. Raiders or Chiefs, man. Raiders at home, Chiefs on the road. Divisional matchup Sunday
you're
night,
gonna
big
do my best
stage.
PFT. I can't do it. It's
That was a pretty good one. You were
the
almost
Raiders. Holy hell!
there. That was pretty good. You almost
jeez.
made it. Do you think the Raiders
Wow.
are going to get Odell?
They should maybe.
I mean,
Brian Edwards, Deshaun Jackson, Hunter Renfro. I don't know if they have enough there. I just don't know. I mean, but this
give
is where
Derek Carr more weapons.
where Odell chooses his future. Again, we didn't really get into that, but obviously Odell Beckham Jr. Hey, he's on waivers. News for everybody. Breaking news. We're going to find out if he's going to be choosing for the betterment of his career and wanting to win, or if he's truly playing for the name on the back of the jersey. I'm inclined to think it's the latter. He's going to pick a quarterback that just throws him the ball at times so he can jack up his yards and sign another free agent deal.
I can't remember who it was. They said he is a volume receiver, and when he's not getting volume, he is not a receiver. I thought that was a perfect quote. I was like, wow. And I kind of manipulated it. So if you want to meme that, you can actually do that. Odell Beckham is a
I can't meme it
volume
if
receiver, and when there's
quote.
no volume, he's not a receiver. It's pretty badass, actually.
Was it your quote, though?
No, I changed it. That was
can't
the
meme it.
idea, but I changed the last part. When there's no volume, he's not a
breaking
receiver.
the
I don't know.
breaking the
I think
rules
I like
of
it.
memeology.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay.
You can tag anonymous radio person Clark heard somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Clark from anonymous radio personality on Odell Beckham's situation as being a receiver or not a receiver.
Yeah, Clark forgot who it was. Sorry.
I don't have enough pixels in the graphic to work with that,
okay.
man. I
That's
really
fair.
don't. But
All right, I'll take the Chiefs if you're going Raiders.
Oh man,
I'll take the Chiefs.
They've been so every time I bet them, man.
We'll see.
Just not good.
It's not an easy call.
Man, that was
anyways.
bad. Like how my throat just got.
I thought you were coughing like as part of the act.
Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders. I like
Still, like I'm about to cough again. It's not good.
the Raiders. Just win, baby. So, anyways, battle game, good one. Here's a recap. I picked the Buccaneers, the Steelers, Cardinals, the Colts, and the Chiefs. Max got the Rams, Bills, Ravens, Cowboys, and Raiders. So not bad. I think it's going to be an interesting week.
I'm nervous. I'm going 1-4. I can just feel it.
Yeah, we're definitely
Just
we hit
feel
the
it.
over. Robin Wildy put the over at 8:47
Oh
today.
gosh, it's Jordan's birthday, man. Okay, let's get.
Yeah,
out
we
of
got to get out of here. Jordan's birthday today. Happy birthday to Jordan. Everybody put it in the comments. Happy birthday, Jordan. We got to let him go and have the rest of his night. He'll get up to something.
Is there a new episode of Yellowstone on or something?
Jordan, I don't think watches Yellowstone.
Jordan, what do you watch? NASCAR's in its off season. We talked about
He
this.
can watch NASCAR. Squid Game. Yeah, he's watching
Oh,
Squid
he's
Game.
in the Squid Game. I'm not getting on that.
He's in the heat of it right now, like right
He's
in the middle
crux,
of it.
the heat.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
getting
Well,
a good
let's get
point.
out of here so we can go watch that.
Next week on the SquadCast, reminder, we're going to figure this out with Jordan. He's going to help us figure out which
Yes.
direction we want to go in. But
That's
we
what
are
the
going to
director
have.
does, is the direction.
He's good at that. Yes. Live stream, Leafs, Predators. It's going to start at an earlier time than you're used to. So make sure you tune in for the whole thing. We're going to have a great time. We won't be showing you the game because that's illegal, but we will be watching it with some audio maybe, and you can watch along with us. We'll be reacting. We'll be talking the whole time. It'll be great. Joel Henderson and Craig Ballard are going to join us in the intermissions of that game. And yeah, we're going to have a great time. So until then, stay tuned because we do have big news on the horizon with our Fantasy League baseball team, among other stuff that we haven't told you about yet, which is exciting for me and Max in terms of some new projects. So stay tuned. But from the basement of the bunker, we are signing off. I'm producer Clark. Mad Max is over here. Director Jordan and engineer. I was used to saying engineer Rolf. Engineer Lindsay is in the back.
That's like the least fourth line back there, just interchanging parts every week.
I
It's
still
crazy.
have producer Alan in my script. I really got to change
Lindsay
my
did
script.
a fantastic job.
Lindsay did great.
Greatly appreciated.
Plus our friends at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions, IKS Media, Hoop Life Basketball, RBI Baseball, Original 16. I didn't have my nightcap tonight.
No, you didn't.
So sorry about that. Great Western Brewing Company. Always a good time. Max, we'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Hey, we
All
got
right.
meetings to do.
We got meetings. That's why I was going to say see you next week, but we got stuff to do.
We're managers of a franchise now.
So anyways, bye for now. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.